Hello and welcome back to Give Me Rent. This is Dylan Weintraub and Noah Weintraub.
What up, everyone?
Also, for his second time on the show, Tom Baker. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here, as always.
Of course. Today we're going to be talking about our favorite TV pilots of all time. We're gonna stick to live action this time because I think animation is
Deserves its own video.
Yeah, it deserves its own episode.
It's different.
So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. I think we'll split it between drama and comedy. So maybe we'll start with dramas, just because I think that we could really split it into two here.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah.
I think we can start in drama with I think something that we can all agree on, which is probably, I think, my favorite pilot of all time, even, for drama or comedy. Lost. I just feel like it has to be said first so we
Yeah.
can get it out of the way.
I think for this conversation, it's perfect because we're sitting with the man who introduced us to Lost, Tom. First of all, thank you, dude.
Yeah. It's one of the
Yeah.
most underrated shows for our generation. I feel like
It's just not talked about enough
no
anymore.
one our age knows this show. All of our parents watched it and loved it, but for some reason,
Yeah.
people aren't watching it again. And I think it's a first episode that gets you gripped instantly. You can convince anyone to watch the show by saying, just watch the first episode. You don't like it, you don't have to watch it. And everyone continues to watch
Yeah,
it.
it's a two-part pilot, and yeah, I agree. If you don't like the pilot, don't watch the show because it's a perfect intro into what the whole vibe of the series and just exactly what the show
Yeah,
is
obviously
trying to
Lost
do.
was a show where a lot of different things were revealed over time, and the show definitely evolved. But the first two episodes are just a perfect intro to really, at least the whole vibe of the first season. And really, it's a great introduction to the characters.
Yeah, it is weird. Like you said, Tom, like no one really talks about the show anymore, but it was genuinely at a level of like Game of Thrones hype at a time.
Absolutely.
It was Game of Thrones, and it's not like
Yeah, it was such a
people
hype
were
show.
tuning in every week, and even these first two episodes, they perfectly. I'd say the part two ends on a crazy cliffhanger, which establishes what this show was so good at, is leaving you questioning and wanting more for next week.
Yeah, even the first one has a great cliffhanger, but also the way that it's structured throughout the first episode is it has flashbacks going back to the flight throughout multiple times in that episode. So
Yeah.
it's establishing flashback, it's establishing the characters, and it's establishing the mystery and like the supernatural elements or like sci-fi elements that you're gonna be kind of teased with the entire show. It's just like this big question that grows.
I feel like you're right, because I feel like part of the genius of like just literally the first 5 minutes of this series is that it just thrusts you into, they're on the island already, the plane has crashed, immediately there's mystery, but there's just insane tension right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And insane set pieces to
and
start
comedy.
the series.
There's also great comedy.
Yeah.
You have Boone running around asking everyone for a pen while he's at. Like, you already know he's a doctor. You know Jack's a doctor, and he's like, "Do you think we should put a pen in his throat?" Jack's like,
Boone.
"Go find me a pen. Get out of here."
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
genuinely just so intriguing right off the bat. I mean, just from Jack opening his eyes.
Yeah.
It's
First
just
shot.
insane.
There's
It
a
just
dog
thrusts
licking
you
him.
into a chaotic setting. And I will say, I think at the time when this came out, this was, I think, the most expensive
Yeah.
pilot
It's generally important
of
to
all
note,
time.
This was the most expensive TV pilot up until that point, 2004.
I think one of
And-
the producers that
yeah.
approved the Lost pilot literally lost his job over just how much it cost the studio. They didn't obviously it wasn't lost yet, like it wasn't established. They didn't fully believe in it, but
I mean, it still holds up now. You could see how
Yeah.
expensive it is. Like it's such a good pilot.
the plane explosion, there's so many like crazy set pieces. You literally see like you don't really fully see it, but you get introduced to the
and you
black
gotta
smoke
put it into
monster
context
to
too.
start it.
This thing aired on CBS.
Is it not? It's ABC or CBS?
Or ABC?
ABC.
Yeah, ABC.
My mistake.
Yeah, ABC.
This thing
was-
aired on ABC, which was just a network TV show. I mean, obviously nowadays we don't really have network TV shows like this,
But
but
it revolutionized TV.
yeah, seriously.
Every TV
Unbelievable.
show was trying to be this, and it proved that sci-fi and this big world building could exist in TV, and people would watch it. Because
Yeah.
the biggest budget things on TV before this were way more grounded, and this kind of pushed that like into the future, where everything in TV is trying to be Lost now.
Well,
Yeah,
I think.
I mean,
you're
it doesn't get as much credit as it deserves
Yeah,
anymore because it
that's
really
what I'm saying.
started.
I feel
this.
like it's so with what Tom was saying with the fact that no one really talks about it anymore. It's insane because so much of the TV that people love today wouldn't be here without Lost. It's
Yeah.
genuinely just such a great pilot, but that first season is just, I mean, it's a great introduction to that because the whole first season keeps that momentum going. It's
25 or so
24
episodes,
episode
yeah.
season.
It's crazy.
Again, on ABC, it was just insane what they were able to do. And yet, the influence is just, it can't be denied.
100%. 100%. Well, I think we all can agree, it is definitely one of the best pilots, still to this day.
I think
Over
something that
20
it
years
does so
later.
well, like pretty much I think all the pilots we're going to talk about do this so well, is just the introduction to the characters.
Yeah.
You fully kind of get, I mean, obviously Lost is a series that, like, people develop a lot. And they go through changes, on this journey on the island. But you get a really good sense of a lot of who these people are in a two-parter. Like, I think Jack, Sawyer, Kate, and I'd say Charlie, which was, I think, debatably the biggest actor on the show, Dominic Monaghan.
At the time. Yeah.
At the time, I think they were really trying to push him, especially in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Great introduction to those characters. Even Claire, I mean, there's Hurley, I mean...
We just don't get shows like this with an ensemble like this,
Exactly.
right?
The
Everyone's at the
ensemble
top
of
of their
Lost
game.
is just incredible.
I totally agree. But yeah, we're all just going to be in agreement on this. But what else? There's so many other pilots. What else are we thinking right now?
Well, something that springs to my mind, jumping like 6 years ahead, you can't deny that Game of Thrones is just one of the greatest openings ever.
Yeah.
Especially for HBO. I mean, HBO has so many great pilots, and Game of Thrones still stands out.
I mean, as someone who has read all of the books as well, that first season altogether, but also the first episode, is such a good introduction to George R.R. Martin's just like writing
Just think
style.
about it. Let's not even talk about the
everything
whole
like
pilot.
that.
Let's
Yeah,
not even talk
yeah.
about the whole. Let's talk about the opening scene.
Yeah, the opening scene alone.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Such a tone setter.
Yeah.
Tone setter for stuff like, obviously the White Walkers aren't seen too much throughout, especially that first season.
Yeah.
But it sets the tone for what I at least thought the whole series was really about. I mean, the main point I thought was, the White Walkers.
Well,
kinda
it's the
slowly
prologue of the
coming
book
back.
too. It's just a great adaptation of that first scene.
But then it's also a great flow into our characters. The way we meet the Starks, who are the main characters of the entire show, come from the guy that runs and escapes from beyond the wall.
Yeah.
And as they bring him into murder to execute him, that's how we get introduced to the entire family and the world of Westeros.
Yeah, and the Starks obviously being the most noble house, in Game of Thrones. They're the perfect. I mean, Ned is the perfect kind of main character for that first season.
Mm-hmm.
And showing that introduction with him, beheading that guy. I mean, it's his duty to do it. And kind of just meeting his family. And obviously you get the arrival of the Lannisters, which are just the complete kind of opposites, at least morality-wise. I think doing it through the lens of the Starks was just so genius. And this first episode just lays that groundwork for, they're like not, I mean, they have flaws, like especially Ned. I mean, the whole first season, it leads to what happens because he overlooks the game in a way.
Yeah.
But I think this introduction to him, being this nobleman in a pretty unnoble world,
Yeah.
it's just an incredible
I mean, you
start.
speak about the beginning too. Think about how the episode ends.
Yeah.
Like it
Just to
ends
get to
with,
that.
with Jamie.
But it's
throwing
a
Bran out of
perfect
window.
lane, and this all takes place in just Winterfell. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm being a little wordy about this. It's just perfect groundwork to introduce the world before spreading out and expanding it throughout the first season. I don't even know if King's Landing is shown really in the first episode. It's not.
It's shown for like a quick second.
Maybe,
because,
yeah. It's
when you see the first scene with Jamie and Cersei. They are.
that's
King's
fair.
Landing.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the one scene.
But I
you
think
get.
focusing mainly on Winterfell to start is a great, way to lay the groundwork.
You do get Daenerys too.
Of
You
course,
get some
of course,
stuff
but
with
that's
Daenerys.
hers is a very separate story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also her introduction is how she's belittled by her brother. Like she's like, her brother literally said, "I would let thousands of men and their horses, assault you just to for my power." And like the way that she starts so low, and it's like you kind of watch as she starts to build her way up.
It's just a great
It's just this
introduction
groundwork for the character.
Exactly. It's a great introduction for everyone to lay this groundwork to who they would become.
Yeah, I mean,
especially
yeah,
Jamie. I mean,
for
we got to
sure.
mention Jamie too, because at the ending of the episode, he does one of the most vile things you could do. I mean, kind of two things, but yeah, I believe his
things I
arc in
would
the
do for
series is
love.
one of my favorite. And this first episode, it makes you just hate him so much.
100%.
And it lays just every single thing that's done for the characters in this first episode, even like Baratheon, like the king, like it's just great character work to show the dynamics of this world.
It's probably some of the best world building in a pilot, maybe the best world building in a pilot ever. It's just you get so much from the world right off the bat.
Yeah,
in the
just
first
kind of
hour.
like how like everyone operates.
Yeah,
just
how-
like
how the
power
world
dynamics,
works,
how the
yeah.
world just works. You get pretty much all of that in this, hour pilot.
Yeah. You were introduced to so many characters in that first episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Again, just like, Lost, it juggles so many, I think even more, to be honest. It juggles so much, and you get a good sense of, like, who these people are. Without, obviously the show, people change a lot, just like Lost, but you get a really good sense of where they're at, and it sets the groundwork for what's to come in the series. Especially, that first season, such a well-contained story, with Ned being the main character. Spoiler alert, Ned does not make it out of season 1. And I think him kind of being the, like, pseudo-main character for the first season is, it's part of the genius of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's one of the most iconic characters and deaths in TV. And it's just, it's amazing how you get this great groundwork for him, but as well as the other characters in episode 1.
No doubt. It's a great introduction to, George R.R. Martin's world where it's just unforgiving and being a good person isn't necessarily.
But yeah, I think before we move on to Thrones, like, it's just that first scene, just really having nothing to do besides, the guy, escaping to Winterfell. It's very interesting. It makes you think, and it really does set the tone, like Tom was saying, for the whole series.
Yeah.
It's just
It's just
dark.
like the violence and as well, and like
Yeah.
hey, this is what we're gonna show you.
Yeah. It was, let's not talk about the ending, but, the beginning was really good.
It's insane. Yeah,
Anyways.
it's insane looking at it. It could be
Yeah.
go from that to eventually what we got being, the same showrunners and all, because
Agreed.
that first episode is just incredible work.
Yeah. Tom, what's another pilot that you
I have another one that I know neither one of you guys have seen, but I think it deserves to be talked about as one of the best
please.
all-time pilots. The Shield. It came out in 2002, so it's going back to that era.
I know a lot of people love The Shield.
I've heard good things.
It's also a very forgotten show in our generation. It's career-defining roles from Michael Chiklis, Walter Goggins, and CCH Pounder, and the entire show follows a police precinct in LA. So it shows it's very gritty, it's very violent. Where it's like some of the cases and like the gore that they show in this is a very tone setting. But the biggest thing about this is the police captain who's introduced. He wants to investigate Michael Chiklis' character for corruption because of like a lot of allegations that have kind of come out against him. So the entire show is all about him trying to install this man into his tactical unit, and then as he's taking this man to they kind of bring him on, pretend he's good, and then the very end of the episode is they kill him and frame it on someone else. Kind of a huge tone setter where the entire show would be like, these are corrupt ass cops working within this system. So it's this huge ensemble cast with this like great tension of characters instantly installed into the show.
And this was 2002?
2002.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Well, I think something, I even without me having seen it, it's crazy to say, like, 2002 was a time of, great shift, in TV.
Yeah.
Where, you had The Sopranos come out, Oz, and a lot of other series were changing how people perceive main characters and kind of ensembles on TV. And for a show to introduce a police show to come out and show corruption amongst, police force, which other shows in the early 2000s ended up doing very well.
Yeah.
But in 2002, that was probably a really crazy deal. And seeing something like, Tom just described is probably just shocking. But for viewers in the shift was just so enticing. Because I know The Shield, it was a huge show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it went on for 7 seasons.
Just like Lost, it's not really talked about in the zeitgeist at all anymore.
And but like the thing is with this episode, it sets up these dynamics and these tensions that like you are going into this like almost long-term battle with like within a police precinct of like these people like politically trying to like take each other down and try to like use their corruption for power against each other. So it's a really really fascinating like story that you kind of don't really get, especially in a lot of TV cop procedurals.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to see this like dirty side the way.
Yeah, early 2000s definitely was like the start of like not all the main characters, but on the really good shows, like a lot of the characters were very gray and not just like the good guy, It was just an introduction to that, especially with The Sopranos and stuff like that. But yeah, I might have to check it out after you saying that. That sounds kind of
Yeah,
insane.
it's one of those things. If you like shows like police-based shows, whether it's like The Wire, whether it's like a Dexter, whether it's something like that kind of plays with like true crime, this is a show that most people our age have not seen, and it's worth watching.
Okay.
And I'm talking about this pilot. I think it's one of the best ones. I think it will just watch the first episode. Like I said with
Yeah.
watch it. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue it, but I guarantee you it'll grip you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna bring up a new one now, if that's okay. But
Go ahead.
I think we've all seen this one, and it just makes me so sad about where this show ended up because, oh my God, did it start
Just
strong.
like Game of Thrones. Like,
Yeah, it's the same kind of deal. The Walking Dead.
yeah.
Oh,
Days
yeah.
Gone By was, I mean, it's an hour and a half long. It's like a movie. It's essentially just a movie, and it is such a strong beginning.
I mean,
to the
it
series.
literally revitalized the zombie genre.
Yeah.
this-
Like,
the
honestly,
pilot-
seriously.
the pilot
Single-handedly.
alone.
Yeah,
Single-handedly,
Yeah,
yeah.
revitalized.
It's
yeah.
it's crazy. I mean,
It
obviously,
literally feels like it's so, because it's a great adaptation of the graphic novel, which
Yeah.
is a throwback to like the Romero-esque
yeah.
type of zombie vibe, and it really feels like that. It feels like a Romero movie just done on TV, and it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
such a good start, and also like the Game of Thrones, that first scene, it's kind not similar, but like Rick walking up to the zombie girl. God, does that
Yeah.
set the tone so well for the whole show?
Oh,
It does.
yeah. And it's just like, and it also introduces the morality of it all and like the questions of within a zombie like apocalypse without being over the top and being that over your head. But it's like like really introducing these moral questions that make you connect with a character like Rick so much faster than
Yeah.
you would by just him walking out of the hospital and being scared.
All these great pilots, they
Yeah.
feel like mini movies on their own. And,
Genuinely,
like,
yeah.
Especially Days Gone By. It's just, I mean, the shot of just Rick waking up, very 28 days later esque, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it's kind of ripped straight out of the comic. Especially those first two seasons of Walking Dead are really almost a straight out adaptation in some ways.
No, I feel people often forget that. Like,
Yeah.
the first two seasons are like a direct adaptation of the original graphic novels, and then they started kind of doing their own thing with season 3 and 4. They took a little bit from the comic, did a little bit of their own thing, but
It strayed so far from it.
Yeah,
eventually.
they
I mean,
strayed so
even
far
parts
away
of
from
season
it.
1 do, but it's
yeah,
a lot of it are a lot of it's very.
it's
faithful.
pretty faithful, and I really think just some of the casting choices. I'm just think about how good Andrew Lincoln was in that show.
Oh yeah,
He's
Career
incredible
defining
good
role.
as Rick Grimes, and it's so weird to think that he's even still playing him today. That's so weird. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's honestly. Yeah, I always forget that he is. It's crazy that
It's
he's
crazy. But also
he's
just
still
everyone
around.
else, like, you got to think, like, John Bernthal as Shane, like, literally, and then Stephen Yeun as Glenn, who ends the episode. There's just it's such an inspired cast for that whole series. And I just feel like episode 1 was just this perfect showing of what it was capable of,
Yeah.
No,
Agreed. It's like all these great pilots we've mentioned. They all have insane openers.
Mm-hmm.
But just like just how good is like we've said, the openers are so good. The closing shot of this episode is so iconic, with a horde of zombies surrounding that tank.
Yeah.
The music choice is incredible. You hear Glenn's voice for the first time. Just sets the groundwork for season 1 in just such an incredible way.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's so clear that they spent most of their I think they literally spent most of their budget on season 1 on that episode because they shot on the streets of Atlanta. Like, they clearly rented out multiple streets just to shoot the couple of scenes of Rick, going through it on horseback, which had to have just been so expensive for a network TV show.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's
It was a big deal when it came out. It was
yeah, it's such a good show for a time.
for a time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they had such a huge following, and that first episode is a clear reason why it just grips you.
Yeah.
It's just great zombie horror, but also just great like all these other pilots. Just great.
Thinking back to
introduction
just like network
to the
TV,
characters.
like Walking Dead seasons like 1 through like 6 is like as good as it gets. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's peak. It's so good. Peak. I mean, it was great. I remember
but
just watching it live.
It's great. It was on AMC, which had so many other great series going on at
Yeah.
the same time. I mean, Breaking Bad. Like, we can't not talk about the pilots of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
It's just
that was one of my next
absolutely-
ones I was going to talk about. So yeah, let's talk about it.
It's
I mean,
another insane opener to really set the tone of the series because
Yeah.
you see him in that situation with the gun, this it's freaking, Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. It's like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
In his underwear in the
Yeah,
middle of the desert.
It's kind of goofy, kind of intense starter. Just sets kind of a great groundwork for the whole series. But the genius of that first episode, obviously in retrospect, is just where the progression of Walter White went.
Yeah.
Seeing, just this timid high school teacher, and find out he has cancer and make the decision to sell meth. It's just insane TV pilot. Like, it's so gripping, and it's at the time it was just so original. And yeah, the pairing of him and Aaron Paul was just so interesting. I mean, all the characters' introductions in that first episode.
We are so
Hank
lucky,
especially.
Yeah, we are so lucky we got
so
that,
fun.
and that Vince Gilligan is just still working today because is probably the best TV writer of all time.
He's definitely
one of them.
Because I gotta
Certainly
say,
not, though.
I'm gonna briefly mention it just because we're talking about Breaking Bad. His Pluribus pilot was phenomenal.
I have not seen that. Tell me about
It is such a great introduction. I actually, believe it or not, I haven't watched the series yet. I've only seen the pilot of it.
Yeah.
So I will just speak on that. Yeah, I just need to get Apple TV back. It's just such an enticing premise
Yeah.
to set the groundwork and the tone for what the show is going to be. I mean, I hope, but it's just so intriguing. It just makes you want to continue it.
Yeah. He's
He's a master
really
of that. Even Better Call Saul. Like,
Oh, yeah.
obviously, like,
very
it has the
different kind of
added
pilot.
fact of it being in the Breaking Bad universe, but it's a great reintroduction to that world.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it ends with, Tuco showing up and all that, so it's like, oh, wow, they got a character back. But I still think it's a great, introduction to Jimmy. Just kind of layering it, like, peeling back and showing you that, there was more to this guy beforehand, and that enticed me in Better Call Saul.
I think in both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, just think about their pilots. It's just clear Gilligan knew where he wanted to bring these characters by the end of the series. Even if he wasn't able to make the whole series, he knew where the arc of that character was going to go, especially for Walter White.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he wanted to turn someone who is so morally good into the exact opposite.
Well, the genius of Breaking Bad, too, and the pilot is because, you see him as such a, normal, mild-mannered father.
That's also just beaten down by the world.
Yeah, exactly. Who's also beaten down by the world. And his idea was to turn him, as he said, into a Scarface-type character. And I think the biggest moment where you realize, like, oh, crap, like, he made me root for a villain is, when he poisons Brock in, season 4. He's finally fully evil. But, yeah, that's the genius of it. Like, showing you him at this point, very normal person who's beaten down in life, given insanely terrible circumstances. The way that you root for him, throughout the whole series, it's all set up in that first episode. Like, the reason why you're going to do that. And it's genius. It really is. And you got to hand it to Cranston, too, for playing that so well. Because even by the time you get to the end of season 1, obviously he's starting to change and all that. His confidence is getting different with the Heisenberg persona. But yeah, season 1 is only, 6 episodes?
Yeah.
You get a crazy little
6
progression of him in there. But still, the way that they make you root for him is so... it was incredible.
How funny is that looking back, too? Because it's like... It's just how AMC operated. It was when they weren't, confident in a show, they would order 6 episodes. And the two things we talked about, Walking Dead and Breaking Bad, were only given 6 episodes to prove themselves.
But they weren't even given true pilots. That's what makes this interesting.
Yeah.
Is that they were ordered 6 episodes right off the bat, the way it is with a lot of HBO shows, where they're just ordered a first season. So yes, they are pilots, but it's kind of interesting how they're like miniseries.
The first seasons are
literally.
kind of like pilots for the show. Like, in a way.
Exactly.
It's like 6...
Yeah, the whole thing, yeah.
Obviously, we're talking just about these first episodes. But yeah, in those first seasons, they just lay the groundwork in such an incredible way.
Yeah. I think maybe Breaking Bad season 1 is the greatest 6-episode series of all. Think about
That's
just the
hard
arc.
to argue.
Yeah,
you also have
yeah.
Chernobyl. You have
There's a
Walking
lot of
Dead
good-
that you just said was peak. You have
It's
It's
better
so
than
many,
Walking Dead.
but I'm just trying to
episodes
think
as
about
well.
where Walter White goes from even episode 1 to episode 6 in season 1. He goes through so much change. It's incredible.
It's confidence just with the kid who's bullying his son with with Skyler, with him just
and then
getting
and then when he stands up to Tuco.
yeah, and then him finally standing up to Tuco, he obviously is still, he's still nervous when he's not in that Heisenberg persona and all that. Even when he's in it, honestly.
Yeah.
But it does set a great groundwork for he's going through a transformation.
And I often forget, because obviously as the series goes on, it gets a lot darker, how hilarious the first couple of seasons are.
Yeah,
There's
they're
some
fun.
genuinely hilarious moments, especially in season 1.
Hank, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
The character introductions are fun.
Yeah. It's a fun series.
Like Jesse's introduction, think about it. He's jumping out of the window. You see this naked girl throwing down his clothes, and he looks at his high school teacher, his former high school teacher.
It's funny.
And that's what pretty much is the catalyst for the whole series, is when he gets the idea, going on that ride along with Hank. And he brings him on that ride along because, Hank underestimates him. He doesn't think much of his brother-in-law. And setting that groundwork to get to where we get in season 5 with them, it's amazing. It all starts in that first episode.
Agreed.
Yeah, Breaking Bad,
great stuff.
that's all the
God,
Vince
I wanna
Gilligan
rewatch Breaking
pilots are just incredible.
I think to this day, it's still my favorite series.
It's
I'm not
definitely
gonna
one
lie,
of my favorite
I still think
series.
it is. It's such a good show.
Yeah. No,
Can't get much
I
better
agree.
than that. What else though? What other pilots?
I think staying,
There's so many other
before we
pilots.
jump from drama, I gotta mention, one that I personally really loved, and I watched it more recently, but I really more think just like setting the tone well. It might not even be as good as these other pilots we've watched, but The Wire I'm gonna mention because I think really I gravitate towards that first scene. Just the conversation McNulty has with, I don't even know who it was with, to be honest, but it's just someone really on the street. Just sets the tone for what the whole dynamics, in the series are. From the street side to the police side. Even, seeing police do kind of dirty things like you were talking about in The Shield. The Wire did that pretty well too, where you're getting characters that are morally gray on both sides of the law. And that first episode sets that up really well.
Yeah, I think with that episode is what it captures better than any of these other shows is the humanity behind everything.
Yeah.
Like all the characters, they are flawed, as you said, but they feel more real and more human than.
Well, that's one of the biggest
any
strengths
other
of the show
character.
is that it feels very real.
But it's almost immediately where you're watching people. It's almost like a documentary in a way. It's obviously not. It's scripted. It's fun. It's tense. It's dramatic. But these people just feel so real, so fast that you instantly get connected with them.
Yeah. I can't speak much to it because you guys know I haven't seen it, so I'll get there. I'll get there one day.
Yeah, it's and similar to The Wire. I don't want to talk too much about it because I really want you to see it. But yeah, similar to The Wire. I think Sopranos did which is weird because the pilot of Sopranos is very different than the rest of the series. So The Wire is kind of different in that regard, where it does set that tone really well. I think something that The Sopranos does very well, and I think it could be very much intentional, is really delving into the family, and not his
his
the mom,
second family,
his singular family. AJ's got some great stuff in that first episode. Obviously, Carmela, you really get connected with.
It's classic.
His actual
It's a
family,
classic pilot.
while seeing obviously some mob stuff, but it's a very different episode from the rest of the series.
Yeah.
It's very interesting for that regard, but I do think that Sopranos has one of the best, just like honestly The Wire, it has one of the best opening scenes in TV history. Tony at therapy, his first scene, saying, he got in, he thinks he was born a little too late. He got in when the good times were over. It's a very interesting introduction to the Tony Soprano character. Obviously one of the most iconic characters of all time. There's just no doubting that. And I think what he says to Melfi to start the series is just incredible. It does set up who he is very well, and the episode lays the groundwork at least for his personal family very well.
I agree. I think it lays the groundwork for both. But it is true that I think the way that the mob stuff is expanded on in later episodes is when you truly get to learn about that stuff, and it does focusing on the actual Soprano family in that first episode is a smart move.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more shocking when the violence and stuff happens.
But it's something that's weird, and I say it's so different from the rest of the series, is you do see him doing some, he attacks a guy in broad daylight. There's stuff that is just
it's
different than
He
the
would
rest
never
of the
do
season.
that.
It's
He
a
would
little
never
more
do that.
exaggerated. It's trying to be a little bit more fun. I will say that those parts of it are interesting. I think the parts that I gravitate towards more, the stuff that takes place at the Soprano household.
Yeah.
It's some of the greatest.
Even the
things.
stuff with the ducks.
Exactly.
I kind of love it.
It's showing, the more personal side to
Yeah.
someone like Tony who's, in the mob.
Yeah, because it isn't until like I'm not exactly sure the exact episode in the season, but it isn't until you see him personally kill someone himself where you're like, oh, when he follows the guy when he's on his trip with his daughter later in the season. That's when you're like, oh, this guy, he's not a good guy.
The reason they show him attacking someone in that first episode is to lay this isn't someone that you're supposed to love, but we're going to show you, amazing aspects about him, and we're going to make you fall in love with him.
Yeah, and you do very easily because James Gandolfini is just, incredible in it. A couple more I want to mention. I want to go like more recent. This is kind of like
I was actually going to say, is there anything you guys want to peel back to like pre-90s, like any of, because like we didn't mention anything, from the 60s, the 70s. Like I think personally,
well, I'm going to get more into that with comedy for sure.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair because there's a lot of sitcoms.
Exactly.
And I think one drama that it's very interesting that no one really talks about, obviously, but I grew up watching this a lot on just DVD. Like I think The Incredible Hulk is just absolutely phenomenal. Like it's that first episode. It's like I haven't seen it in so long, and I feel like it has like. Bill Bixby is just insanely good in that series. Yeah. Like he obviously weights it down.
Goofy parts aside of that show, you are right.
That introduction great. Is a movie. I think it's over an hour.
It was basically a movie.
It was basically a TV movie, and it was like one of the first like kind of comic book things to like take seriously like that. Because think about what you're following.
Obviously, the stuff with the Hulk, at least nowadays, looks super goofy.
It does,
but they took it seriously
at
then.
The time, they took it seriously. Yeah. You're following Batman 66. Adam West, which is like, that was what people saw comic book projects as.
Yeah.
So like going into the 70s, obviously big shift in just culture and all that. Times were changing. Things were getting darker, just to be honest, like in media.
Dude, great shout.
But The Incredible Hulk is just, that show is just so influential and it's not talked about enough. So I feel like it had to be mentioned.
No, that's a good mention actually, because no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, it's really the performance of Bixby and for, obviously as the Hulk.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They're both just so good in that show, and them taking it seriously, it just added so much to it. And at the time, it was an important series.
Good shout. I did want to bring up something on completely opposite end of the spectrum, but something we also saw recently. True Detective.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Of miniseries, too. Like,
Is it a miniseries, though?
It is. I mean, it's an anthology series. It's an anthology series. But that first episode, it does set the tone. Obviously, it's crazy opener, and I think other series like it too. Like Mindhunter really sets that tone well. There's a lot of detective-based series that, they're cold.
But I do, I really think that this is like.
But that one's so different though, just with the character introductions of True Detective. I feel like that's what makes it stand out versus other shows like Mindhunters or like a Criminal Minds or like any of those kind of like investigative
Jumping into Criminal
shows.
Minds is crazy though.
No, but
he's trying to talk about the detective thing.
It's the same genre.
The stuff McConaughey has, like his character has in some of the craziest dialogue throughout that throughout that season. The first episode does lay that down, or like who this person is and how cold and his demeanor just being so off-putting in a way.
It's the writing.
Writing is so genius in that series, and it's crazy just how it gets so much more intense from there.
Yeah, and it starts to create these layers of the mystery where you don't know what direction you're gonna go in, and you don't know which way the characters are gonna go in because of how flawed they are.
And on rewatch, it hits different.
Yeah,
it really does. Because I think about where that first season leads off, and like where you start with what McConaughey's saying, how he's acting, and really, just how he carries himself to get to that end. It's such powerful stuff.
Yeah,
I think season 1 the ending is one of the greatest, endings to a season of all time. It really, you're right. That pilot, it really lays the groundwork for who these characters are so well, and to get you ready for a decade-long journey.
Yeah, literally.
You're right. It's insanely well done.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more I want to talk about.
I was gonna say before we move on.
So much
before we move on to comedy, let's all pick one more for drama. Go ahead, Tom.
I'm gonna stick with the exact same year, 2014.
Okay.
It's another Damien Lindelof project, the creator of Lost. I want to talk about The Leftovers for a quick second.
Yeah.
Because this show is, when you talk about setting a tone, this
Yeah.
show does it better than anything.
Powerful.
I haven't even seen this yet, so yeah, it's another one I haven't seen.
So the whole concept of the show is 2% of the world's population suddenly disappears. No one knows what happened to them. No one knows where they went. No one knows why. So the entire show is designed around grief and this mystery of where it's like and trying to learn how to accept and like fighting this idea of we are not in control. And the way the show opens is a woman walking out of a store, and she's just walking with her baby. She goes to put her baby in the car. She puts it in the car, and then as she walks around to the driver's seat, all of a sudden the baby's gone. And then it's just you just watch the panic from this woman as she's like, where is my baby? Where is my baby? And then like the world slowly starts to like unfold that it's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's not just the
And
singular
then it quickly
event.
cuts into the future where we're introduced to really awesome actors. Where we have Justin Theroux, Carrie Coon, and Margaret Qualley's first breakout role. So you have these three characters, and you're introduced to these ideas of grief. As like we do,
That first episode just gets you ready for how heavy the show is.
But it covers like how everyone deals with it in their own way, and how the world would deal with something like that. Where we see teenagers trying to deal with this idea of grief. We see elderly people like dealing with like the loss of their family.
Yeah.
And we also see how society kind of goes crazy, where there's random cults popping up, and it's like no one has answers, despite everyone searching for this inherent need to kind of foreclosure. So it's a very, very fascinating show.
Very human show.
Yeah.
It's
And yeah, I think Lindelof has never really failed us when it comes to TV. He's just like Gilly.
I personally really love his take on Watchmen too. Which is a great
I know
first
there's
episode.
people that dislike that show, but I think it's regardless of what he does, and I'm so excited for Lanterns too. It's always interesting.
Yeah.
It's always super interesting and a very just like unique take on a concept like grief or something like that.
And everything he does is human first, or like character first.
Yeah,
whether
it's very character
Whether that's
driven.
Watchmen, whether that's like any of his projects, it doesn't matter.
That's why he was gravitated towards Watchmen, because it's a very human comic book story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm curious what he's going to attempt with Lanterns.
Yeah, I'm very excited, because obviously that's even more out there, comic book wise. So
yeah. Well, Noah, do you have one more for drama?
yeah, I think one that has to be said. Twin Peaks is just. I mean, there is no loss.
Thanks for
There's no
saying that.
loss or any of these
Thanks
mystery
for saying
things
that.
without it.
Yeah.
It lays down this. I mean, it's a lich, so it's the vibe of that first episode. I mean, the whole show is just so
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
interesting.
Yeah. No,
It's unsettling.
I have seen the pilot.
Fun.
I haven't really seen the whole series.
I haven't seen
But-
the whole series, but I have to mention it because
Yeah,
it's so,
putting
I'm
it-
going to get back into it.
Yeah, putting it into just context, no one had seen anything like that on TV
yeah.
before. It is so weird, so out there, and it's unforgivingly like weird. Like it doesn't care. Like it's super strange.
It feels again, just like
Yeah.
all these other pilots. Twin Peaks first episode, it feels like a movie. It
Yeah.
just feels like
Again, that was 1990 too. So
Exactly.
it's just like it was so out of nowhere.
the influence
Yeah.
just can't be understated, because it just led to us getting so much good mystery TV. There's no, I mean, it's something we didn't even mention. Severance. It's just
Yeah. I was going to mention Severance.
okay.
It's
That was
one-
going
it's
to
a
be your
great
pick, so it's a
pilot.
great leeway into.
No,
it.
that,
But
that
yeah,
actually isn't my last pick, but it's
we
we
don't
should
get
mention
all
it.
these shows without Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing for
Agreed.
Lost, but there's no Lost without Twin Peaks either. Like
Yeah.
it gave us so much, and it's you're right. When it came out, there was nothing like that. I mean,
I
all
think
these-
it gave creators leeway to do
more
unique-
experimental things on TV.
Yeah, to experiment.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a
Lynch,
great
Lynch,
another great shout.
He gave us so much just with that pilot alone.
This last one I'm gonna mention, I think it delves into the world of comedy a little bit too, and also just not enough people have seen this. I know you love it.
Oh, okay.
Baker has not seen it.
Yeah.
Ash versus Evil Dead.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Ash
Okay,
versus
so
Evil Dead. Dude.
so what we can say about Ash vs. Evil Dead is
Yeah.
really the fact that, at the time even when it was announced, because, we were so excited for it to come out, Sam Raimi just going back to the world of Evil Dead.
Yeah, the fact that it's directed by.
But yeah, the first episode, the
Yeah.
pilot is directed by Sam Raimi, so it's like a mini Sam Raimi movie, him coming back to his horror roots.
Yeah. I love it.
And also, it's just kind of
I love it.
combining the tone of the Evil Dead trilogy into one thing.
Yeah. It's like you essentially get Army of Darkness Ash in an Evil Dead story. So
Yeah.
it's like there is the horror vibe. You get the
there's
comedy
genuinely
vibe.
scary things in the first episode.
there's some great horror stuff in the first episode.
Yeah.
It's like actually scary. And yeah, I just think it's a great amalgamation of the best things from
But
that
just think
trilogy.
about how it's directed and how just energetic, especially the last
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes are. It's just such a great groundwork for what that show was
I
going to be.
think out
which
of
is
all
so
of the
fun.
picks we just did for drama, it's not for everyone. I could genuinely admit that.
You have to be
However,
a fan of Evil Dead.
Yeah,
It's
if
fair.
you were a fan of Evil Dead and you haven't seen Ash vs. Evil Dead, go watch the pilot.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it
Genuinely.
really... No notes. I mean, it had
Yeah,
everything
so
you're looking
great.
for. At the time when we knew, we were so shocked that Ash was coming back in general. This episode just, thrust
I think
you right in.
the whole show is just a gift for fans of that trilogy.
Exactly. The whole show is a gift. You get all the great editing stuff from the trilogy in it. The great, the writing is hilarious. The gore is insane. I mean, the show genuinely gets gross eventually, but
Yeah.
that first episode has some really, really fun gore. Great stuff with the Deadites. It's just a great reintroduction to Ash in that world.
Yeah.
Especially after, it following the 2013 Evil Dead.
Yeah, it
Came out after that.
It's kind of crazy.
So yeah, it was, again, a total gift for fans, and you're right. I'm happy you mentioned it because it's one of my favorite first episodes of anything.
Yeah, 100%. But I think it's a good way to bridge over to comedy now because that's like a little bit of both.
Well, something I feel like I can start here because one thing I do want to mention that bridges both comedy, drama, and let's end here, because it is still a drama. But Barry's first episode.
I think we can. I think we can start comedy with
Yeah.
that. I think
Comedy.
it goes
But
more
Barry
comedy.
eventually,
Drama.
obviously, it teetered, crazy drama territory as well. There's it's an insanely dramatic performance from, Bill Hader himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has hilarious parts, especially that first season. But yeah, this episode it's so good. I mean, the
The
ending.
most
of it.
ridiculous concept ever.
Yeah.
In like the best possible way because it works so perfectly, but it has no business working as good as it.
Yeah, just following a hitman who wants to become an actor is just what an insane premise. And you obviously get one of Bill Hader's best acting scenes ever in this pilot. His speech to Kusanov
Yeah.
is one of my favorite things he's ever done. And yeah, it sets the tone because it's sad, it's hilarious. It just blends that. It's so well done because it blends the two extremely dramatic side with extremely funny side because for a lot of people that was him jumping from SNL for like obviously he did other things. This is following his turn on Trainwreck and all that. But yeah, it was crazy to see him enter this new territory.
Yeah, and him just directing it and writing
Showing
it too.
that
It's
he
such a-
really
showing
has
his
it on an
talent.
acting side. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
he was an amazing comedic actor, but seeing that he had a whole range of he had a whole different side to him. It was really incredible to see.
Yeah.
And the ending obviously sets up the first season incredibly, where he's just like, yeah, I'm an actor. It's just I think it's one of my favorite endings to any episode, to be honest, because it's right after what he kills like three people.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a comedy though. It's so funny, dude.
Yeah, it is. But I'm
Like, it
saying
is.
that first episode even has insanely dramatic stuff in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For
I have
sure.
another very similar comedy I want to talk about that you reminded me of. It's a creator-led comedy that's creator-inspired, I don't know if it's written, but it's certainly acted by them, and that's Dave.
Yeah.
Dave
Okay.
is
Uh-huh.
so funny. The
Yeah,
opening
good
scene
show.
is such a tone setter where he's in the doctor's office and he's just like talking about how his penis is just the worst penis in the entire world, and it's hilarious. And it's just like, but it's all of it.
Definitely sets good groundwork for the offbeat comedy that's in that series because of,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such an interesting thing where it's normally where it takes this idea of a rapper and just humanizes them and kind of makes them so much lesser, and it's so self-deprecating throughout both that episode and the entire show, where it's really just like being able to laugh at yourself in a genre that's so like egotistical is so fascinating.
And honestly, like who knew before that Lil Dicky could act?
Exactly.
He's pretty
He was
great in the
funny.
series.
He just did like ironic songs before, and
Yeah.
he's a really good actor and really, really funny.
Yeah, it was a perfect outlet for just showcasing everything he could do.
I have another dramedy I want to talk about
Yeah,
first before we
it's-
go true comedy. As we
Okay,
make the
see, we're not
transition.
fully there yet.
I mean, it's one that is the most shocking, jaw-dropping, unexpected thing that you were again, I was thinking I want to say this before, but The Boys.
I mean, yeah, it's a good
when
one.
it's a show that like you don't know what it's doing. It's like oh, you know, it's a superhero show, and then you have A-Train run through the main character's girlfriend. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a fun pilot.
Such
though.
a tone setter.
But it was culturally
It
when
is
it came out.
culturally
Yeah,
iconic.
it was huge. It really did shock the
No,
zeitgeist.
I think it's a great shout because it really was that first episode that like proved like it was so early on where it was just like, oh my god, this is you. This is unique. This is new.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You know,
it's also
this is-
true, people that were following it before it came out, they're like, oh, Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg making superhero show, Obviously they're involved with Invincible as well, but
too.
yeah, it's weird because genuinely a shocking first episode. It's very fair to point it out.
Get the ending with Homelander too. Just
Dark.
everything. Yeah, it's dark.
Very
It's
dark.
dark, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
I do. That's a
Dark,
good shout.
yeah, it's dark comedy.
Yeah, I
It's-
mean, I guess if we're gonna jump right directly to comedy, like we got to start talking about sitcoms
Yeah.
because like those are like the true pure comedies. What are some of our favorites?
Well, honestly, I think this is my favorite pilot out of any we've even said so far. I think Arrested Development start is just pure genius.
I think when it comes
I
to
mean,
like
it's
yeah.
22 minutes.
Yeah, I'm saying for a 22
Think
minute
about
episode.
what they accomplished in that, introducing 9 characters, and you genuinely get a good sense for who they are.
Yeah,
Like in 22 minutes,
yeah, it's
you're
crazy.
introduced to this crazy premise. Obviously, Michael being the anchor of the series, but yeah, kind of delving into who these people are in his family. The show obviously evolved a little bit from there, but it's just pure comedy. It's so
Yeah.
well done. The writing is so sharp. It's a great introduction to just how just with it they were. It's such a fast paced show, so you can miss so much stuff. Like so much stuff can go over your head, but all the jokes I think land in that first episode.
Yeah.
The episode, that's where it starts. A lot of running bits for the entire season too.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
entire
The entire
show.
show.
For the entire show. Yeah.
Like, you have like the banana stand. You have like him. What? Oh my god, what's his name? The kid.
George Michael.
George
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah. So
George Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, you have George Michael being like upset, like
You
attracted.
get
to
the
his
introduction with
cousin.
his cousin, and
You get the dad being arrested. Like it's so funny.
You get Lucille, just like her relationship with her kids. There's just you.
one of the
literally-
best TV characters.
Literally,
of all time.
I Don't Care for Job is in that episode.
Yeah.
One of the most classic scenes in the entire show.
It has so
Like, seriously.
many of the.
There's
It
cla-
has
so many
classic
classic
jokes.
So many
In
classic jokes in the
22
first
minutes.
episode.
In 22 minutes, they do so much.
Yeah.
And you're right. It ends with, and it's so confident too. The narration, the ending with showing things that are never going to be continued again. That's what the show does in every episode. The stuff with George Michael and his cousin. And you see that crazy, like insane scene with her sitting on his lap. That's in the first episode. It's crazy.
Well, you also have
it's kinda
Tobias
wild.
going off with the gay, thinking that he's going off with pirates, and they're all just like gay protesters, and it's hilarious. Like all of these running
There's so
bits
much.
that they
There's so many
established,
things.
it's all
The fact
from
that
the
they're
show.
able to just fit that many jokes into again under 30 minutes, like under 25 minutes, it's just expertly done. And those first 3 seasons are, I think, the best comedy seasons of all time. That's just my take, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing on with sitcoms, I think we just have to mention this one because honestly, like, it just like is the blueprint for all the ones that come after it. But Cheers. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about the first episode of Cheers, like, it just does set the groundwork for exactly what you need to establish in a sitcom in the first episode. Just introducing a character to a whole new world, which therefore introduces us to a whole new world.
Also, just
Like-
perfect casting
Yeah,
throughout
like,
the whole
exactly.
series. And
Yeah,
the
Ted
characters are
Danson's
just so
awesome.
endearing.
I just had to bring up, like a classic like that because I really do think like it just set the groundwork for what.
I mean,
every
yeah, that
sitcom was
first
supposed
episode,
to
it just
do.
shows you they had an insanely solid foundation.
Exactly.
And why it became, one of the most influential series or sitcoms
Exactly.
of
That's
all
what I'm saying.
time.
I feel like every sitcom
It's all
followed
there.
it.
Just like Arrested Development, it's all there in that first episode.
Yeah. Exactly. So I just wanted to quickly mention that one, but yeah, one of my favorite ones too. I feel like it's not like perfect, and it definitely changed over time. But I really do like How I Met Your Mother's pilot. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I like it.
It's a really
I like it.
fun tone setter. Where
Yeah.
it's like very.
But it's so
heartwarming.
different from the rest of the series where it is just like.
But I don't think that's necessarily an issue. Like a series evolving like that, it doesn't have to be so flawless in the first episode.
no,
to be a
I
good
will
pilot.
say it sets up the group dynamic, minus Robin obviously being separate at first.
Yeah.
it does set up their dynamic so well.
Yeah, Barney's great in the first episode. You know, obviously he changes a little bit over time, but it proves to you exactly why Neil Patrick Harris was picked for the show. And I think every single other person, you know, Jason Segel and just everyone.
They definitely brought it in that first episode. You're right.
Exactly. I feel
It's
like
just it's
still
really,
really
I guess,
strong.
the editing and how it's
Yes,
constructed
that is all different.
is different from the rest of the series, so it does feel weird.
I'm gonna say it. Though.
But that's a lot of
It's still
pilots.
It's still one of my favorite pilots.
I
I really
think
do like it.
captures the endearing factor of the show. That
Exactly.
like, that's really like the heart of it. Although it's like not like all time funny jokes, it's just very endearing and it's very warm.
Exactly.
And it's fun.
And then the ending of it, where it's just like, no, that's your Aunt Robin. Like, it's funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a great start to the show because it's like, no, we got a whole lot more story to tell. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that one. But yeah, let's keep going, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you know, Tom. You wanna pick one?
Yeah, I mean, I know you said you were you wanted to talk about this one, but I won't gonna talk about it anyway. It's Always Sunny. We have to talk about that. It's an all-time
classic.
comedy.
The gang gets
staple.
racist. Even pre Danny DeVito, that episode just showed like, and literally just knowing what they went through to make it, what behind the scenes. I mean, pretty much just penny and dimed it. It's just made on such a budget, and they were still able to be so funny.
Yeah.
And they were doing everything themselves. All these people. It's an insanely well constructed pilot for everything that was going against.
I mean, yeah, so many people look at it as like the anti-sitcom. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think the first episode just perfectly shows that.
And now
It
it's
does.
like it's an all-time comedy that's proved the test of time. It's
Yeah.
lasted,
And it
it's
all
like
starts right
because of
there. Yeah, seriously.
Like the fact that their first episode, they called "The Gang Gets Racist."
Yeah,
Like
for real.
it's quite literally like the entire episode is not only making fun of racism, but also being racist and then calling themselves out on it throughout the entire thing. So it's like
Yeah.
really trying to push like the boundary and then calling themselves out for pushing the boundary.
It's a perfect start.
But that's their formula for a lot of the show, and it's like very cool that you see formulas for episodes that you get way later on, like season 10 or later even. Like they follow that formula like of comedy that you get in episode 1.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
I think another one that I'll mention that again is kind of like How I Met Your Mother, where there you clearly like they didn't understand what the show was really going to be yet, but I think they got a lot of some of the good character work starting. Community, which is another one of my favorite sitcoms. The first episode is very much different from what the show became, in its prime, which I'd say is season 2 entering beginning of season 3. The first episode still does such a great job introducing, especially Jeff Winger, but also just Greendale. It's a great intro to the quirky zaniness of that school. And, the dean, his introduction to start the whole series, it gives you a great feeling. I will say, delving into each character individually, it doesn't do it too much. But once they get to that table by the end of it, seeing, how Jeff tries to control them, that whole, setting up the dynamic of the group where he's eventually, sitting at the foots and they accept him for who he is.
Yeah.
It's great groundwork for
I think it's
the show, especially season 1.
Yeah, it's great that you compared it to How I Met Your Mother because both series are just like they needed to find their footing.
Yeah.
And eventually, by the end of season 1, I think they both
pilots
do.
have great things in them.
Yes.
Where the great things were kept.
Yeah, they had to build upon that.
They had to build upon a lot
Yeah.
of the strengths, and you see a lot of those strengths in the pilots. I'm not saying, I think both of them we can all agree they're not the greatest. We're talking about our favorites here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love them so much because, the groundwork is there.
Exactly.
They just needed to really pick from it, take the strengths from it, and improve on it. But I really do. I mean, it's one of my favorite shows, so I had to mention it. It's great introduction to the group.
Good pick. Well, we got any more? We've gone over a bunch.
Yeah.
Tom?
I have another comedy. I think
Yeah.
it's one of the most ridiculous concepts out there is What We Do in the Shadows. It's a sitcom, classic sitcom, 22-minute episodes. It's on Hulu, but the entire concept follows vampires that are trying to take over Staten Island.
But yeah, it's following, obviously the film,
Yeah.
which came out from Taika Waititi. Yeah, I think continuing that concept in a show form was a great choice.
But it was way different in the comedy, where this was way more focused in the comedy, and it was more grounded in a way.
Well, it's
or
different when
it was
you-
more
you know,
outlandish. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was way more outlandish than
Yeah.
the grounded movie, where it's like really trying to push the boundaries.
Well,
of
they
their
took the
vampiric
concept and
way.
they knew that, they could push it to TV and make something really funny out of that.
Yeah, I think it was a smart choice.
Yeah, again, the introduction to the characters in that is great stuff.
Yeah, because they're not necessarily likable characters, but they're fun characters.
Yeah.
Endearing because they're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will agree. I haven't seen the whole series, but I've seen that episode. It's really funny. It's a great intro to a TV show version of that movie.
That's another good pick. Honestly, like I think we just went over a ton of incredible pilots. Like
we're definitely leaving a bunch.
We're
out.
definitely leaving a lot out.
We
There's a lot
haven't
of good
seen
TV.
everything. There's obviously pilots that a lot of people love. Mad Men, West Wing, ER. I mentioned Oz earlier. Yeah, Westworld. There's a lot of pilots. I mean, obviously we didn't even delve into cartoons.
Yeah, which I do think we can do a whole another episode on, and we will. We'll get there.
Even if we don't, I mean, there's it just has to be said. There's obviously a lot of great sitcom cartoons.
Yeah, that as well.
We just left out. Like obviously, like the main one I mentioned is like The Simpsons. Like there's just a lot of great things that we could delve into another video, but we don't have enough time to delve into cartoons because there's a lot of great cartoon pilots.
For real. But what do you guys think? What are your favorite TV pilots? What did we leave out? Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next time.